Welcome to the Good Food Podcast with me, Samuel Goldsmith. Today's guest is one of the most authentic voices in food right now, a chef, a storyteller, and a man who brings serious flavour to everything he cooks. From wood-fire cooking to deep, honest conversations, and you may know him from his YouTube series Sunday Sessions, or his Sunday Times best-selling cookbook, Big Has Home, or just being unapologetically himself. It is, of course, Hassan Sime, a.k.a. Big Has.
That was really cute, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really cute. Thanks for having me.
I hope it was all true.
Yeah.
Well, you might not want to say that.
Nah, you've got to be humble, innit? I'll take it all, though. I'll take it all.
What did you have for dinner last night?
What did I have for dinner last night? I was developing a recipe for M&S, which is like, it was a bonfire night sandwich.
Nice.
So I had to make a curry in a naan wrap. A friend of mine came over with pide, which is that Turkish pizza. I had some nice pickles that I bought from a local market. And then some crisps.
Very nice.
Yeah, foreign crisps. I like foreign crisps.
Did you? What flavour?
They were tomato lays.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they're on the cusp of like holiday crisp ketchup flavour.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
I love that when you go on holiday and you get different flavours.
It's one. Do you know what my two favourite things on holiday are crisps and ketchup?
Ketchup?
Ketchup tastes different wherever you go.
Do you reckon it's like the sugar content? I suppose it's different spices as well.
Rules,
maybe.
spices, and sugar content. One of my favourite ketchups, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's got like a high ketchup game.
What's in it?
Cardamom, cinnamon. It's got a little spice edge to it. It's packed full of black pepper, and it's just a little something different. Like you're used to dipping chips into like basic Heinz, or I kind of like Daddy's as well, because Daddy's reminds me of like being a kid. Or if I'm feeling really special, I do, what's it called? Tiptree, the one that makes jams. Yes. That ketchup is delicious.
And Stokes.
Yeah, Stokes is good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, ketchup and crisps are my things on holiday.
What's the best flavour crisp you've ever found on holiday?
Oh, that's a hard one, man. I like Ruffles. Ruffles, big in America, big in Turkey, big in Europe. Ridge, like McCoy's.
Nice.
The bog standard salty ones, delicious. Like if you're sipping a little beer on holiday, somewhere in the sunshine, great. I think I'd have to go with Ruffles, to be honest.
And just like plain, ready salted.
Yeah, because I think depending, I've never done have you ever done a winter holiday?
I don't know. Yeah, I've done like to Scotland or something.
Yeah, fair.
Or Norway, somewhere cold.
I don't really holiday in the winter to cold places, so I often associate holidays with like warmth, half pints, like little snacky bits. And I'll always like actually, do you know what? You know when you go to Spain and you get those crisps that are like half in a brown bag, half in plastic, and they're cooked like they're like kettle chips, but I'll show you a picture and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had
like
them.
You get them in like Lidl's in Spain. Delicious.
Oh, yes, I think I do know what you mean.
Super crunchy.
Yes.
Yeah, those crisps are the greatest.
I've always liked to go away and get paprika.
Oh, nice.
But they're coming over here now, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they're not as good.
But you spend a lot more money here. When you buy foreign crisps in the UK, I bought a bag of Takis the other day that cost me $4.99.
$4.99
for Doritos that were dyed blue with all of the chemicals that they could use in America. And I was like, well, I spent $4.99.
You could fly there cheaper.
Trust me.
Right, we're here to talk mostly about your new book, so Smoke and Seasoned Bread, Recipes from Turkey, which is out now. So what was your inspiration behind the book?
Do you know what? The book was actually a mistake.
Was it?
Yeah, so after book one, HarperCollins, the publishers, were like, we really want to do a book two. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And we pitched ideas, and it was basically me trying to do whatever I could. You know what I mean? So I was like, I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to Jamaica. I want to go to Japan. And we had these ideas that got greenlit, and it was, as long as we can get an airline sponsor, we'll make it happen. Sure. I basically wanted to be thrown in the deep end, right? And airline sponsors didn't happen and stuff like that. So we were like, what are we really left with? And I like to talk about migration and food a lot, and how that changes how we eat in the UK. And they were like, you can either do migrant food in the UK or we'll send you to Turkey. And at the time, I was a bit like, I don't want to be the Turkish Cypriot kid sent to Turkey, because it almost feels token. You know what I mean? It almost feels like that's what's expected.
Yeah.
But I was like, that or like go to Inverness. Do you know what I mean? I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go to Turkey. So
hey, Inverness can be nice. You know,
I love Scotland, man. Scotland's beautiful. I've been Scotland quite a few times actually. Food's good, people are nice, but if it was like go abroad or stay in the UK, I'm always going to go abroad.
And you are probably going to get better food in Turkey.
Yeah.
Right.
But I went into the whole thing blind, and I think it paid off. To be honest, I did no prep. I blew my budget, and where we were like, I'm in an RN and airline sponsors were pulling out, I spent all of my budget straight away on living, basically.
Yeah.
And then my agent emailed me and she was like, we really need to start writing a book. And I got paid from a separate gig the day after. And I was like, I'm just going to book a flight to Turkey and see what happens. And spent 2 months out there traveling and seeing new things, basically.
Because obviously you have that Turkish Cypriot heritage, but so I guess sometimes people assume it's like, oh well, you'll know what you're going to experience over there. But actually, to know that you learnt so much is really nice. I think it's like for you to be able to go somewhere and actually explore it almost with, I guess, fresh eyes.
I mean, that's why I didn't want to do the Turkey book though, because I thought deep down inside, being of that culture, how much am I actually going to see and experience?
Yeah.
So getting there, I did 3.5 weeks in Istanbul, lived in an apartment, lived like a local, only took buses and trains, didn't get taxis, walked around, tried to fit in. And even in Istanbul, I was eating things that, because normally you go for a 5-day holiday or you go for a long weekend, you don't get to experience much, right? But the more I spoke to people, the more I saw people like, oh, if you're traveling Turkey, you got to go to Diyarbakir for barbecue, or you've got to go to Gaziantep for anything with pistachio in it. And so the book was slowly like written by small conversations with locals. But yeah, I landed there and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. And just it wrote itself, basically.
It's what I really like about it is it's kind of not, I'd say unexpected might not be, but I think compared to your first book, which was very much like your home cooking, it's kind of, it is slightly unexpected, and I like that about it. It shows almost like a different side to you, I guess.
Yeah, I'm yet to read the book back, right? I have a problem with celebrating and just feeling accomplished over things. But what I do know from the book is there's definitely a vulnerability in it. And I think looking like me, talking the way I talk, representing cultures and things that I consider to be attached to London, to then have this book where I'm talking about my relationship with my dad and my identity crisis as a kid. It's more than just food. And the idea was to write a memoir, and I was given more space to write. And I was like, if I'm going to write a book, I have to do it properly. And it has to be honest, and it has to be all of these conversations that you don't necessarily think you're going to find in a cookbook. I feel like those are the stories that define who you are.
Sure.
And if you want to give people an insight into your life, like I don't want to give away too much, book 2, when I want to write 10 books or whatever. But at that moment in my life, I was doing therapy, I was exploring vulnerability, I was having conversations with people that I wouldn't normally have. And whilst blasting these notes into my phone, it was just copying, pasting thought processes and how I felt at the time. And this book was just born into the narrative of like being a love letter to my dad, but also being a soul-searching, inspiring journey, which sounds cliche, but I think until you've done something like that, it's always going to sound like, oh yeah, he's just trying to sell his book. But really, after reading the introduction and the outro again, I was just like, yeah, man, I knew where I was at that point, and it's like a character-affirming time. And
I think as well, like, I don't think people would expect from you to just kind of be like, yeah, I'm just going to hype this up because it's my book.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're saying this, people would know that it's coming from a genuine place.
Yeah, but it puts more pressure on it, you know. Like I've had the worst week of like anxiety, and because there's a part of me that's super excited about this book coming out. There's also a part of me that's like, I'm letting people read my diary, and I want it to be received well. I want it to do as well as it can be. But there's this whole fear of the unknown. And like when you've worked on something for 18 months and it's gone through processing and you've picked pages and photography, and then all of a sudden your deadline, your book's out, and it's like, how do I feel about it? How do I celebrate? How do I do anything? Yeah, man, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I'm not gonna lie, it's been an emotional roller coaster, but I'm proud secretly of how we made it happen and what it looks like and the feels of it.
Honestly, I think it's a really good, like,
thank
really
you,
great
man.
book. And
thank
I think,
you.
like you're saying about the photography, the writing, it does feel like it really comes from you, and it is like a journey you've been on, like you say, like a kind of, you've really learned a lot from the process.
Of course. I've got nothing against people that write cookbooks that are like 100 recipes, bang, this is what you need to do, quick night recipes. They sell. They're sellers. But I think I've just got a chip on my shoulder sometimes that I feel like I represent different things, and going to school, getting no GCSEs, not being able to write my name till I was in year 5, to going to a first book that was Sunday Times bestseller. And again, with that book, I was just me. So I was just like, why am I going to change this now? Like, it just has to be me continuously. And hopefully it works, man.
And it can be a different side of you.
Of course.
I guess that's fine.
That's just growth though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I think one of the things you realise is the person that wrote that to the day it comes out isn't the same person.
Sure.
That even in that 18 months, there's development, there's growth, there's things that you've dealt with or had to deal with.
Yeah.
And I read it back now and I'm like, oh, I know why the narrative of this book's this. And it's just about seeing that progress for me on paper almost solidifies growth.
And you mentioned earlier about kind of like exploring your vulnerability. And was there something that happened that kind of that meant that you wanted to do that?
I'd never holidayed alone, man. Have you holidayed alone before? Like backpacking?
No.
Elephant trousers in Thailand type stuff?
No. I've been on holiday on my own to visit somebody.
Okay, cool.
So you're spending bits of time, but certainly not like backpacking.
So like, I wouldn't say I lived a sheltered life, but I lived comfortably in my parents' house till I was in my 30s, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was never forced out. Looked after, food was always on the table, and of course, like I paid for bills and cooked dinners and stuff. But I feel like a lot of my friends grew in their 20s to 30s, and in my 20s to 30s, I dedicated 90 hours a week to restaurants. So I was having a career push, but I feel like my people around me weren't outgrowing me, but were doing exciting things like going to Thailand or doing these experiences and living their 20s basically. And I felt a little bit lost. And I was like, maybe I need to go do some soul searching. And I feel like sometimes I hid in restaurants. Like, I hid behind not knowing who I was, or like not feeling sexy or not feeling accepted, and all of these little things that you grow and deal with in your 20s, I didn't get to do. So I felt like it was the right time to almost run away, man, and just be like, I'm going to sort this out and I'm going to see where it takes me. And this was like after therapy and after like dealing with things, and I was just like, this is my time to grow and be, I don't want to say the man because it's cliche, but be the person that you want to be.
Sure. I mean, I think the fact that you're open about that is probably incredibly helpful for a lot of people. It's like you were saying earlier about what people expect from you based on what you look like, etc. Like, I think a lot of people probably wouldn't expect you to be vulnerable and to kind of open up, and I think that's incredibly important. Like in these times.
I don't know what it is about men's mental health, man, but if we're going to kick it and have a proper conversation, I want to have a proper conversation, man. Like, if we're at a point where we can disclose information and trust each other, I'm going to tell you my deepest and darkest. And sometimes it bites me in the arse, innit? But also, I don't want to see no one struggle after I've been through what I've been through and done what I had to do and whatever. And I've not lived like this hard life or whatever, but there's times where being a pessimist, you're your own worst enemy, innit? And I've just been trying to do things that help me get past that. And if there's any way that I can help someone else understand that or realise that or want to take the leap, then I'd love to, bro. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think fundamentally why people know me is food, but if I can even inspire someone to be like, I could write a book if I wanted to write a book, or I could drop my tools now and run off to India if I wanted to. And I think there's just bigger purpose to putting nice things on plates, man.
Because you went on to Jamie's 15,
Mm-hmm.
was that a sort of an escape as well, or?
No, man. 15 was more being stuck in a security job that I didn't want to do. And my mum seeing me really unhappy. And at the time that I was doing 15, it was the first time I got anxiety, like in my early 20s. And mum was just like, you secretly watch cooking shows all the time. Like, I'd run home and watch like Luke and Guyan in Vietnam. I just grew up on the greats, Jamie Oliver, Gordon, whoever. And mum was like, you're always watching cooking shows. And I'd stand by my dad in the garden while he barbecued, or I'd watch mum cook. And she was like, why don't you just give this cooking thing a go?
Yeah.
And when you leave school with like no college, all of your friends are going to university, no qualifications and whatever, you're limited to what you actually can do. So I jumped on a plumbing course beforehand, then got into security. And I just felt like I wanted more. I wanted more responsibility. I wanted to feel proud of what I was doing for a living, and getting onto the 15 course and being around, the most important thing about 15 was being around like-minded people, that we'd all had rough edges and like some of us weren't dealt the best cards, but some of us were just like ADHD and couldn't conform to being in school. And for Jamie not to like think that the rest of the government, which was lock them up and throw away the keys, to take us on and be like, this is why food's important. And it wasn't about like going to Les Boulangers to see the best chickens. It was about almost like the hierarchy of the army setup, that it gave us all purpose. And that for me was the time where I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I just knew it there and then. Amazing. I was like, this is it. I think for me in the beginning, it was about feeding the little gremlin inside me that just wanted to eat nice food. And not knowing how to make something almost annoyed me a little bit. And I was like, I want to know why this is so delicious. But there's certain things with food, like the colour of smoke when you're barbecuing can go from grey to blue. And at grey, I'm rendering fats, but at blue, I'm burning.
Wow. Or
like seeing, like how you're taught to cook fish is watch the colour change 40% up from skin down, knowing when to flip it. And there was all of these visual cues and bits of information that made cooking more exciting for me. So like understanding the science between making two fats emulsify through agitation or heat temperatures and that stuff, I was like, I almost nerded out about it, and it got really geeky. And I think with food is that there's no like 100% completion. Like, you haven't banged out GTA for 12 hours and clocked it. With food, no matter where you go in the world, someone's doing something different with something. Yeah. And what you're used to or what the norm is, when you move to your next restaurant, goes out the window, and you then relearn new skills or the same skills. Sure. And you're given all of this information that you then build your cooking style off, I guess.
I mean, I think what's really interesting about that is like you were saying about how you didn't necessarily achieve what you wanted to achieve at school, but then now you're in an environment where you're learning again, but that learning is enjoyable and like you're really like progressing, and it must.
Yeah, of course. I always knew that it was going to be whatever I did. It had to be hands-on, right? It had to be exciting and a little bit technical. But when I went to school, I wasn't allowed to choose more than one practical subject. Yeah. So I was forced into doing like French and geography when I didn't want to, but chose drama and woodwork. So woodwork practical, I did well, but woodwork coursework, I couldn't do.
Sure. So
I do feel like if I did food tech, music and woodwork at school, I'd have got some GCSEs. But because I wasn't allowed to, I was just forced into this corner of being like, you have to conform, tuck your shirt in, your tie has to be 7 stripes. And I was just like, this is long. And also, being at 15, it was never about who you were in kitchens. And it still isn't. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what you're doing. Can you make an omelette with no colour and no crease? All right, get on brunch section or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it was literally about, can you do this repeatedly at this level? And if you can, you feel free to stay. Yeah. And I stayed for 13 years, I think it was.
Wow. At 15?
No. 15 was a 18-month course.
Yeah.
From there, went on to Theo Randall's.
Yeah, nice.
Worked with Stevie Paul. I did like the Italian circuit. I did like River Cafe without doing a River Cafe, basically. I learned pasta, and I chose to stick with the Italians because it felt like a cuisine that wasn't far from what I'd eaten at home. Like I knew what an aubergine was, I knew what a tomato was, parsley. So I guess with like hiding, because I didn't ever want to stand out. Like I stood out my entire life, right? And I've had this problem of being like not being centre of attention and trying to blend in my entire life. So I think I stuck with Italian food because I was just like, I can just cruise through this.
Because you're not like the Italian that's doing Italian.
Yeah.
So you won't have to sort of be there. I'm the authentic one here.
Of course.
Yeah. What you're saying there about not wanting to stand out, but then like a lot of what you do now is like social media, which feels like standing out.
But do you know what? That whole social media thing was a mistake, man. Like it was never. I think when you plan to be on social media and you're like, I need to get followers, I need to get likes, I need to get comments, I need to be a part of the algorithm. That's when for me, it's just like, why am I doing this, man? Like, this has now become a job. I was talking to the boys recently and like about whatever we were talking about, and the boys were like, you need a hobby. And I was like, I do my hobby for a living.
That's the problem, yeah.
And like, have I got time for another hobby? But the whole like living on this viral pendulum of social media, I just don't care. Do you know what I mean?
What would you choose as a hobby?
I went to a choir thing last night, right? I didn't sing, but I've just moved, and a new neighbour, Rich, who's a music teacher, was in a band back in the day, has this local choir, and he was like, come, we're doing a performance in the park. And it was mad wholesome. Everyone was happy, like from Adele to Otis or whatever, do you know what I mean? Just banging out tunes. And I was like, this could be my new hobby, like once a Thursday, and just see. But I was looking at like pottery, boxing.
Nice. Wow, all very different.
Yeah, but all very focus-led. Do you know what I mean? Like, have to zone out to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I work the best, to be honest.
It's when you can get sort of like into that space where you're not thinking.
Yeah.
When I was having a period of really bad anxiety, I once went roller skating for like a Christmas party.
Mad.
And it was and I'm really
skating or blading.
Well, it was like, I think it was skating. It was like in a room.
Oh yeah, nice. Like a roller rink
party. Yeah,
sick.
And it was the first time in what felt like forever that I was not worrying. I was just trying not to fall over. And I was like, you're right. It's like those things that you can do where you're totally focused on what you're doing. It just changes your whole life.
My worst days, it all sounds like really dark and sad, but it's not like that. But my worst days, I either mop the floor at home or I cook something nice for dinner. And those are the two things that I'm like, I don't need to listen to this. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to listen to the multiple voices in my head. But yeah, a hobby has to be, I have to be fully involved for it to be solid and be like, I'm going to do this forever. But pottery sounds like a good one, man. I just make an ashtray every week. Just give them away or stock them up and then have 12 different Christmas presents. Yeah, exactly. What's your favourite colour?
I think pottery would be great, actually. I think it's like, I love watching great, pottery throwdown.
What? Is that a show?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, Channel 4.
Swear.
Yeah. And one of the guys that does it, is it Keith Brymer Jones?
Okay.
He's also now just bought a chapel in Wales, and he's like doing it up, and that's all on TV as well.
Sick.
So good.
Yeah, sick.
I think you should, and then you could enter the celebrity pottery throwdown.
Yeah. Do you know I really like watching is the National Portrait Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Calming, isn't it? It's like Gardener's World. It's just so like
I absolutely love it. Just watching people who, sounds weird, but their talents haven't been exposed to the masses yet.
Yeah.
And you're just watching these people do what they've done for however many hours of their life and just watch this thing go from start to finish and be like, just be gobsmacked at people's talent. But like, I found out what the word sensei meant, and sensei means to spend 100,000 hours in your craft. And I calculated how many hours I've spent in my craft, and I'm halfway.
Are you?
Yeah.
So you're going to keep going?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the next cookbook, or at some point.
Yeah.
What would you want to do next, do you think? Have you thought about it?
It varies every day, man.
Yeah.
My goalposts change all the time. There's talks of opening a little kebab shop.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which could be pretty exciting, daunting. I'd love to commission another cookbook.
Yeah.
TV stuff would be great. I want to be, if I can be in a position where I'm cooking good food, having honest conversation, kicking it with people that I want to kick it with.
What could be better than that?
Yeah, man, that's like serenity, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I guess everything that you do on a daily is to get to that point. But when it changes all the time, it's difficult. Do you know what I mean? To stay grounded and be like, this is what we're working towards.
Sure.
Working in kitchens, you work hard throughout the day to get to service. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got an end point.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then going back to the book, like, were there any like new flavors or dishes when you were over in Turkey that were just completely like
soy sauce, man? Soy sauce. I was bewildered.
Wow.
So I went to. There's 2 dishes in the book that got soy sauce. One of them's a squid dish.
Yeah.
That's really simply marinated in like flowering oregano, Turkish chili flakes, and garlic. But it's served with a soy sauce chaser as if it's sushi. And I don't know if that's because that dish was in Istanbul in a part of Istanbul called Kumkapı. That's basically all the restaurants are live music and raki. That's what it revolves around.
Wow.
So when you drink raki, it's often seafood, meze, and like fruit to finish, right? And I don't know if Turks saw this little thing where it was like the blow up of sushi. Like we have trends in the UK, so we have food trends across the world,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So I don't know if the Turks saw the sushi thing and was like, oh, they serve everything with soy sauce and it makes sense, so let's do the same. Anyway, I ate this grilled squid, dipped it in the soy sauce, and I was like, this makes sense. Like, why wouldn't it make sense?
Yeah.
And then
so interesting.
I travelled all the way across to the other side of Turkey, and I was in a place called Urfa, which is like bordering Syria almost, right? So it's got influences from the Kurds, the Arabs, the Turks, the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
And I sat down to eat this kebab that's called terbiyesiz tavuk, which means rude chicken, it means, right? I was eating it and I was like, this tastes like fucking yakitori. And I was talking to the chef and he was like, yeah, it's called rude chicken because it's marinated in soy and in milk. And I was like, this is the stuff that I have to write about.
Yeah.
I have to, because Turkish food, I guess, is like donas, mixed grills.
You don't think of this like flavors like soy sauce.
So like, I even think that when you think of meze, not that meze belongs to anyone, but like you're thinking in the realms of like Morocco, Iran, Iraq, wherever it, like we all eat like that collectively. Or if it's, you change the name and you call it antipasti. Do you know what I mean?
That's true, yeah.
So like all of these things that I ate and experienced over Turkey that changed, one, because of where it was geographically. So, like, the very north is on, I want to get this right, but the very north's on the Black Sea, and the fish is different. Whereas the south's on, like, the Mediterranean Sea, so it's like red mullet and all these delicious things. But that and how much Turks care about produce. So, like, tomatoes that we'd look at as consumers in the UK that were, like, blemished or had the root was too big or anything that was like wonky, Turks will just chop it, put it in whatever they want to put it in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I went to this place where it's connected to a market and you go pick your vegetables and they're like lamb or chicken. I mean, you're like lamb, whatever. And he's like, go get a pepper, a tomato, and an aubergine, put it in a little bowl. You take it over to the guy, peels it, fries it or grills it or whatever, sticks it on a bed of bread, and then he's like, there's your lunch. And all of that's like £6.
Wow. And
like, I think that as much as the food's the important part of writing a book, I think understanding how people value food and being able to write about that and selling the idea of like the marketing campaign around food abroad is the things that you want to capture. And like
differences as well, I think, like you're saying about the north and south being very different. I feel like, you know, with Indian cuisine now we're learning about the regionally it's very different. So it's really interesting to hear you say, well, actually in Turkey it's the same.
Yeah, of course. But like it's just about what's represented here. I feel like Indian cuisine here, you've got Goan, Keralan, you've got all of these different, like, I don't want to call them subcategories, but we're being
like regional, isn't it?
Yeah, regional, but we're being taught about it.
Yeah.
So the people behind it are being like, this is why we cook this way.
Yeah.
And then you go to a Sri Lankan restaurant and you expect to eat Indian food, but then you realise it's curry leaves and black pepper.
Yeah.
And without that education behind it, it all falls into this umbrella of foreign.
Yeah.
So I think being able to write about the 6 different places that I went to and how they varied and how the food varied is almost me giving an insight to what it could be if you were to go to these places and see it. But a lot of the writing I did, I just imagined that I was Rick Stein, you know? Like, I used to watch Rick Stein scribbling doctor's handwriting into that little black book and be like, that's what I want to do with my life.
Wow.
And
well, you're there, pretty
yeah,
much.
man, I just didn't scribble anything. I just frantically tapped into my phone like a massive tourist. But I think it's important to, even when writing a cookbook, you're selling a whole package. So, like, the differences between the Italians in particular are very headstrong and patriotic about where their food's from, and like going to Rome and eating griccia and carbonara to then going to the south and eating puttanescas and whatever. That's all over the world, and I had to make sure that if anyone was reading it from that region, that they'd be like, "How did you forget this bit?" Or "This is why we do this." And I wanted to cover all of those.
Which I guess is really difficult because you've only got so many pages.
Do you know what? A lot of those conversations just happened in the saunas in the hotels that I stayed in. Turkey is mad cheap, right? Ridiculously cheap. Because I was only staying 4 or 5 days in certain parts, I could spend 40 quid a night on a 5-star hotel. And then I'd go for a swim because I'd consumed masses of food, right? And I was like, I have to swim or go gym, otherwise I'm gonna come back double the size, and I'd just be sat in the sauna and people would see my tattoos and curly hair and instantly think I was foreign, because it's not necessarily a Turkish trait. A lot of the Turkish ladies have curly hair, but men are like straight, jet black, often quite short, depending on where you were.
Yeah.
So people would be like, Saudi Arabia, and I'd be like, no man, I'm Turkish, but I'm from Cyprus. And we'd just get into conversations and people were inviting me back to their houses, and there's this like hospitality in Turkey that I'm going to show you why we're the best.
Yeah.
No, and that if you're here to eat this thing in particular, my uncle does it and you got to come. And that was like, those experiences, I guess, are what makes food what food is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Without like flashy stuff and like beautiful chairs and upholstery and whatever, that the real thing about food is that.
Yeah.
It's about the feeling you get from food.
Well, we talk, as we will ask you soon, like about favourite dishes, and often chefs, when they think about their favourite dishes and talk about them, it's food from childhood at home. It's not when they've gone out to a restaurant.
Not a chance, bro. Not a chance. Like, if I said to you now, what's your favourite thing? There's no way you're going to be like, oh, I had the best bisque in a bistro.
Yeah, exactly.
No way,
And
bro.
if it ever is something fancy like a lobster,
it's with who you're with.
Or because they like their dad was a fisherman,
and
brought like a lobster home
and
one day.
it's pure nostalgia.
Yeah. Or like you say, if you're with someone who you have a really strong memory of just having an amazing time. I think it's really interesting that with chefs, when they talk about really good food, it's not restaurant food.
No way,
really.
like Rick Stein, I was listening to Rick Stein's episode that you guys did, and the stuff that Rick spoke about, I was just like, this guy just loves food, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about
loves a good time.
it's not about having the best seafood restaurant or whatever. He's just an encyclopedia of good food, and he's always got something to say that's on topic. And he's the kind of guy that I just want to eat a small bowl of prawns with and bang a pint. Massive inspiration.
Have you met him?
Never. No. I've met a few chefs that I've been like, rah, what am I doing in the same room as you? Or like, it's weird when someone like Monica Galetti comes over and she's like, hello, chef. And I'm like, what? You're calling me chef? I was like, nah. And Ottolenghi was the other one. I remember being at a Fortnum and Mason award and Ottolenghi was like, Hass, nice to see you. And I was like, what the do you know what I mean? Like, what? You?
Yeah.
I was like, hello. It's nerve-wracking, man.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
Pomegranates.
We're going to move on to talk about Young MasterChef.
Okay, cool.
I'd love to know, like, what were the worst and best things that you ate?
Oh, bro, listen, yeah.
Not name any kids'
No,
names,
of course
obviously.
not. They all know that I love them. But there was one week that we did pasta, and I taught them how to make fresh pasta, turn it into ravioli. Showed them my whole ethos on that episode was simplicity.
Yeah.
Right. Couple of ingredients. Don't mess around. All of a sudden, we've got 9 contestants all making Alfredo. And then me and Poppy were looking at each other like, why is everyone making the same thing? It was all like Old Bay seasoning, heavy cream.
Yeah.
And it's just about what's being fed to them on the internet.
Right.
Is that all of these, I say kids, all these adults, young adults, were being fed videos of spaghetti Alfredo or linguine or whatever. So they were all like, this is what we need to cook. And pasta is a hard one to get right, man. A lot of people eat very bad pasta. And what they don't tell you about the glorious side of TV is that they all put their plates down at the same time, but it doesn't mean they get ate at the same time. So if you go first, you're going to have a better dish than whoever goes last. And by the last point, you're moving into your mum's spaghetti bolognese territory that she left out of you that's now taking the form of the bowl. But yeah, I had some questionable pastas.
Really?
The best thing I ate that day was the winning dish, man. It was Famara, big up Famara. He made a dish from home that was inspired by all the women in his life. And it had all of this background, and it was nothing I'd ever eaten before. And I was like, this is what food's about.
Yeah.
Get rid of
get
rid of all of the flashy lights and the name of the show. This kid understands what I understand food to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was delicious, and I felt like I was eating a part of his history. He made like this stew chicken. It was just delicious, and it tasted like, when you eat food and you're like, this person cares. And that's what it tasted like to me. Nice. Yeah, man. And he was just a good, kind-hearted kid. And I still talk to him now, and he's a great boy. And it's just good to see that generation understanding their cultures, their heritage, their backgrounds, the importance.
And that leads us nicely onto our next section, which is my favourite dish. What would your favourite dish of all time be?
Oh, it's difficult, man.
I know it often changes as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Different times of day.
If you said to me, do it seasonally, I could do it. But if I'm thinking about my favourite times around food, it has to be sunshine, summertime, my dad cooking on the barbecue and my whole family being there.
What would he be cooking on the barbecue?
Normally chicken.
Nice.
Often lamb. My dad had this thing when we were kids. He'd poorly butcher lamb shoulders to cut up to make shish. Leave loads of meat on the bone and he'd slowly grill it. And like while he was cooking dinner for us, he'd take his little knife out and he'd nick at it and eat it like as if it was like a pastor or something, and cutting off the first layer and eating it. But I think that for me, if you said to me, man, you're gonna eat with anyone and you're gonna eat anything, it would be with my family and be eating kebab.
Amazing.
And when I say family, it doesn't necessarily mean bloodline for me. Do you know what I mean? We were brought up in a home where the door was always open, and like my nearest and dearest friends now have been in and out of my house stealing things out of pots. I did the same, do you know what I mean? And like that would be it for me, man.
And your friends are like your family that you choose,
of course,
almost.
man.
It sounds a bit naff, but
yeah.
Is there a dish in the book that you would say was your favourite dish out of that?
This book?
Yeah.
Oh, there's the one thing that I'd say on that trip that I was like, this is why I'm doing this, it's a kebab, obviously. It's called an onion kebab, right? But the Turks have this thing in barbecue country that when you're making a kofta or a dana, the texture should be like bulgur wheat. So it should break under a fork, right? And that's all done by hand chopping with big rocking knives, not in a mincer, because mincing stuff you emulsify and you jeopardize flavor. You get more bounce than you do chew.
Okay.
So everything's hand chopped, and the use of lamb tail fat is a big thing in Turkey. So the sheep graze in the mountains on oregano and wild things, and all of their fat and flavor is stored in their tail fat. So it's just this hand chopped, quite plain kebab that's like about ratios. It's about 70% meat, 30% fat.
Wow. Salt,
grilled really hard and fast, but in between it, so it's like little nuggets, little balls of meat, but in between it were whole shallots. and they were both grilled at the same time, and the shallots go like jammy and sweet, and you've got this really fatty, salty meat in between it. It was just served with a triangle of like really fresh homemade village lavash, and then it was like garnish it yourself. So you get a raw onion, a raw tomato, a couple chilies, some parsley, and each bite was a little bit different. Served with a big jug of ayran, which is like a Turkish yogurt drink, and I was sat there on my own, and I was like, simplicity, delicious. People are queuing for it. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm writing about it.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, man. Like when you say things like things you think about on your deathbed, that'll be one of them for me. Yeah, man. For real.
I am actually salivating.
It's delicious. Honestly, it's a not gonna lie, it's an absolute ball ache to make. And like writing all the barbecue chapter and being like, now hand chop an entire lamb rib, and I'm like, is anyone actually gonna do this? But then there's a part of me that's like I said earlier about understanding and knowing how you make something.
Yeah. Is
that there's going to be someone that's going to be like, I'm going to try this out.
Yeah, I'm going to make it.
Yeah. And
anyone listening, I feel like they'll
I hope
make
so,
it after
man.
that.
I hope so. There's loads of things that I feel like we're pushed into fast food.
Yeah.
Fast is in duration and not as in like takeaway.
Yes.
We want to be fed in 7 minutes or whatever.
Because everyone's so busy, and I think a lot of the time that would be something they'd probably do at the weekend rather than like get home from work and then make
that was the other thing in Turkey. There's always time to eat, and people go on lunch breaks and sit in restaurants.
Love it.
It's not like I'm going to run to Subway and I've only got 15 minutes, so I'm going to go to Greg's. I'm going on my lunch break and I'm going to go eat soup, 2 salads, some meze and some bread, and I'll be back in an hour and a half. And it's just celebrated food the entire time.
I'm going to suggest that here. Right, guys, we're doing that here now.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to move on to culinary confessions.
Okay.
What is the one dish you make better than anyone else?
Fuck.
This goes against everything you like in your you don't want to big yourself up.
I think I cook chickens really well. I was taught by a chef once, Barnaby Bembo, who's a very good friend of mine, that you should probe a chicken and it should reach 63 degrees. Right?
Yeah.
And it should be super under, but then you rest it somewhere warm and it will creep up. You then flash it and you'll eat the best chicken you've ever eaten. It's gone wrong a few times, but I'm at a place in my life where if you hand me a barbecue and a chicken, you're like, do whatever you want with this, I'll make something juicy and delicious.
Oh yeah. I feel like chicken is just, everyone loves chicken.
Yeah,
it's just something comforting about it.
It's universal, man. I want Book 3 to be about chicken. I pitched a chicken from around the world is what I want to do.
That'll be it. And I know it would be great if you did it.
I hope so, man. I just want someone to send me around the world and just go eat chickens, man. It can't be that hard, man.
That thing you're saying about 63 degrees, though, I mean, 64 degrees is like the top of the danger zone, isn't it? So as long as you're over that, and it should automatically, like when you rest it depends
it depends how you've cooked it. Like on the grill, you can get away with it with like hot sides, indirect sides, warm resting.
Yeah.
I don't even roast chickens whole anymore. I spatchcock them always, break the breastplate.
Yeah.
And I'll go side down until that exterior is almost like caramelized. Yeah. Then go up, crank the oven.
Nice.
And once I've got crisp and like a little bit tight breast with bounce back, I'm pressing on my shoulder to give you reference. I just rest.
Love it.
Rest and flash.
There we go. What's your biggest cooking disaster?
Oh, do you know what? Raw chicken. The first time after Barney had showed me how to make 64-degree chicken, I did a barbecue at my house with all my family, and I went and bought really beautiful birds. So I borrowed from a restaurant. I was working with Stevie Part at the time, and I had this brainwave to take all of the brine from the mozzarella that we were selling and using it as a brine. Wow, so I brined a chicken in the mozzarella water with oregano, lemon zest, honey, and loads of chilies, right? I cooked this chicken beautifully, and I say beautifully, I carved into this chicken, and it was dangerously moist, right? It was dangerous, and everyone refused to eat it.
It's that texture as well, so you know it when you
everyone refused to eat it except for my brother-in-law, Ollie. Ollie ate it, and he was like, Hass, this is raw. And I was just like, no, it's not. And I ate an entire chicken that definitely parts of it were raw, man. So raw. And I was just like, you know what? If I die with purpose.
Have you ever served something ready-made and pretended you made it yourself?
Yeah. Bruv, do you know the worst time of my life? I did a supper club at Jamie Oliver's, yeah? I wrote this menu. It was around book 1 that we did it? Anyway, I was like, I know what I'm going to do for dessert. I'm going to make everyone kunafe. You ever had kunafe before?
I don't think I have.
Kanafa.
Oh, okay.
The shredded wheat cheese syrup.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll make 110 of those. Oh my God, the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. I did them all in Tefal pans that were like 18 inch ones, the biggest ones,
huge
right?
Ones, yeah.
So stuffed them in, lined them all up, got them on the hot plates, and I was like, they're cooking great, they smell delicious, blah blah blah. Went to flip them, nothing flipped.
Oh no.
And I was like, for fuck's sake. Anyway, so I roasted them really quickly and just spooned them out, right?
Yeah.
The next night, it was a 2-night supper club. I went to a local Turkish restaurant. I was like, I need 120 kunefe. He was like, whenever. Put the money down, served them. I didn't lie about it. Like I said to people, people were like, oh, the dessert was delicious. I was like, I had a nightmare yesterday. It broke my spirits. And I was like, I'm just going to go to the professionals.
Yeah.
I've done, yeah, man.
Why not?
Yeah, like, so what?
Have you got a food guilty pleasure?
I really like sweets. I don't like sweets as much anymore. I've lost 5 stone. I've been at the gym, banging out gym.
What sweets?
Anything, man.
Like Haribo sweets?
Yeah,
or like
chew. I want chew.
Ones?
Yeah.
Sour or like sweet or...
Sour,
the Tanktastic vibe.
Yeah.
I'm like that as well.
Another one of my guilty pleasures that reminds me of being a child is halloumi, cucumber, tomato, and a piece of bread. And there's something about when you cut it and the different smells that you get. So you get like clean off of like cucumber and tomato. There's a little cheesy smell in the air from the halloumi. And then the bread's normally stale, but it reminds me of being at home and being hungry. And those were things that were always in my house. So if you come to mine now, there'll always be like a little wonky cucumber. There's always tomatoes outside the fridge in my house because I don't do tomatoes in the fridge because it kills them. It literally kills them. But I think that for me is one of those things. If I'm ever like drunk or desperately hungry, I know that I can go home and I'll find that. Yeah. And it makes me feel special, man. It makes me feel like a child. The
that
smell reminds me
guilty,
of
though. It's not.
Nah, it's not guilty. But if you eat it after you've eaten a whole day's worth of food, do you know what I mean? You're like, I'll just do this for nostalgia. But the smell reminds me of my dad, and it reminds me of my childhood. And where I've recently moved out, I feel like the days that I'm missing home, I tend to eat like my dad. So it'll just be like barbarically and not chopping anything, putting stuff on plates,
just
like
taking a bite.
Yeah. My dad, bro, I grew up. My dad was eating onions like apples, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Blimey.
Proper.
Yeah, it's not like Miriam Margolyes does that, doesn't she?
Yeah. Great minds.
Right, quick fire questions now.
Go.
Best kitchen tip you've ever been given?
It wasn't given to me personally, but in Kitchen Confidential, Bourdain writes about the 5 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Doesn't really go with what my life is. I don't really prepare for anything, but it was one of those things that I read that I was like, that makes sense.
If you could only eat one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Turkish.
We'll let you have it.
All right, if I wasn't going to go Turkish, I think I'd go Chinese. Yeah, man. I think we've got so much undiscovered Chinese food.
That's true.
That we know 110 items on a takeaway.
Yeah.
But then you go to Chinatown and you're like, oh, I'm eating things I've never heard of before, and they're delicious.
Stuff. Yeah.
So I'd like to say that Chinese would keep me entertained for the rest of my life.
Great. If you could change one thing about the way we grow, buy, cook, or eat food in this country that would be better for the planet, what would it be?
Does it have to be one thing?
You can go on. You can
Fine.
mix that.
No imports, homegrown, pretty plastic packaging means that you shouldn't be able to charge people more money.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. If you were a flavour of ice cream, what would you be and why?
Stracciatella. I'd be stracciatella. I'm quite vanilla.
Okay.
Right? I'm not vanilla.
You're not vanilla at all.
I'm not vanilla at all. I think I'd be stracciatella because I don't want complex. I don't think I'm complex. I don't think I've got various complexities. I think I'm I'm basically Ronsil. And I feel like Stracciatella's the Ronsil
That's what
of
it
ice
says on the
cream.
tin.
Exactly.
You're definitely not vanilla based on what we were talking about
Yeah,
before we started recording.
before the recording.
What ingredient is the biggest waste of money?
Anything minced in a jar. So, like, you know, people buy minced ginger, minced garlic, or frozen bags of diced onions.
Yeah.
You're wasting your money, man. Buy a nice knife, learn how to chop.
Good. Yeah, because it is more money as well, isn't
Yeah,
it?
of course it is.
Is there a food you always eat on your birthday?
Oh, my mum. Big up my mum. Coronation chicken rice salad.
Oh, that sounds good.
Man. Definitely a Delia recipe.
So is it like rice without the kind of sauce, but all the elements sort of stirred together?
So it's bog standard coronation chicken
Yeah.
without raisins in because people don't like raisins. I like to put raisins. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I love it.
I like to put raisins and flaked almonds in mine.
Oh, yeah.
But rice salad is another Delia recipe, I think, that's boiled basmati, and then you cut in canned peaches, radishes, sweet corn, little bits of cucumber, red pepper, dress it in balsamic.
Yeah.
So it's light and delicious, and then you usually eat it side by side. Loads of like freshly chopped baguette with big whacks of Lurpak on top. That reminds me of my childhood birthdays.
You're opening a themed restaurant based on your life. What's it called, and what's the signature dish?
Smoke, success, and stress.
Love that.
Yeah, that's what it would be called. Signature dish is. I'm trying to think of play on words. It'd be something cooked over fire, but it'd also be about my identity crisis. It'd be a mishmash of cultures.
Like a mashup.
Yeah, a mashup. Exactly, a mashup grill. Not a
Love
mix-up grill, a mashup grill.
What's the worst thing you've ever eaten?
I once worked in a Turkish restaurant where they were like, we're doing a special. And it was just a heavy lined plastic bag full of sheep's testicles, right? And he was like, prep these, we're going to barbecue them. And I was like, oh my God. And they're the whopping pair of bollocks, right? And you have to break every layer of membrane before you get to the texture. And then...
Did you just sort of wince?
Yeah, of course. And then when I ate them, all these other chefs were like, yum, yeah, these are great. Yeah, let's all be chefs and pretend we like it. It's like, this is rank, bro. Rank, disgusting. We tried to do testicle nuggets, deep fry them, horrible. We tried to grill them, butters. I think the weirdest thing that I've eaten, like, when you explain it to someone, is probably a sweetbread. Do you know what I mean? Or like liver, like kidneys, like you're eating stuff that cleans piss.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you're expecting it to be nice. Yeah. Organ. I don't really do offal. Do you do offal?
Yeah, no, I don't like offal.
I'd say the weirdest thing I've ever cooked was in a restaurant with Stevie Parr, and it's called paiata. It's a Roman pasta that's veal intestine. So it's mad that the selling point of it is that they slaughter these little veal, and then they tie little knots in its intestine, right? And the knots in its intestines have got its mother's milk in it. You then braise it in tomato, pancetta, loads of garlic, chilies. Yum.
Wow.
Because it makes like this, almost like split but delicious, cheesy, meaty pasta sauce.
Wow.
But as soon as you say to someone, by the way, that's veal intestine with its mum's milk still in it, that's what you're eating, everyone's like, do you know what, I'm out.
I'd definitely be out. But now, like, if I didn't know what it was, to be honest, even if I knew what it was, I'd eat it.
Yeah, of course. I don't have to turn my nose up at things.
Off-putting when you say it.
Like, have you tried everything that has been put in front of you? Ever been like, nah, I'm all right?
No, I've never not eaten anything.
Yeah, same.
There was one thing, which was a tarantula.
Okay,
and
cool.
It came in the post.
From who?
I ordered this pack of like
Someone
bugs
sent you a
to eat,
tarantula.
and I was like, I can't, because I don't like spiders.
Yeah, fair.
And I was like, this is too much of a spider.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I kept it and with the intention to eat it, and then I don't know.
Was it flavoured?
No, I think it was just like
deep fried.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I went to Silo recently. You been to Silo?
Yeah,
yeah. And I ate loads of bugs.
I don't think bugs are that. They're not that interesting to me, but they're not awful.
I mean, I wouldn't pick a bug up off the floor.
No.
But when a chef's like deep fried it and been like, oh, this has got Cajun spices in it, or this has got paprika on it, of course, I'll give it a go. Yeah.
Right, final question for today, which is, what does good food mean to you?
I think it might just be love. I think good food to me isn't necessarily about what's on the plate.
Yeah.
It's the shared experience. It's the people around you. It's the way you feel on that day. I've had some of my happiest points in life eating normal shit, man. Like eating normal people things. But I've also had some very memorable meals with people that I love and care about. And I think if I could say to someone, this is how I think about food, it'd be the love on every level.
Nice. That's lovely.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, really good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in
Thanks
to talk
for
to me
having me,
today.
man.
It's been, honestly, one of the best chats I've had.
Thank you.
Really
I
enjoyed
appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Good Food Podcast. For more recipes and inspiration, visit goodfood.com or download our app. Subscribers to the Good Food app via the App Store can listen to our podcast ad-free.